Hey there, just a friendly reminder that doll making, or at least doll customizing like this, isn't really meant for kids. There's a lot of dangerous stuff involved. Not with me as much, but with the others, definitely yes, so just don't do it. These videos in general aren't meant for kids, so just keep it aware of that. Hello there, welcome back to Manny Cat Doll Zone. Today, I'm finally working on Roarali. She's been sitting around in my stock box for a hot minute, and I wanted to turn her into a forest sprite. They just give me a fairy vibe. Change things up a little bit from my just about human characters. So let's go ahead and get things started. While her head was warming up, I tried to get my handheld drill and drill it into her spine, which sounds really bad out of context, to make a hole for her future tail. This took a minute, and in retrospect, I should have gotten one of those, rippy bits to keep her on the table, because I had some near misses doing that. Her just abruptly sliding around while the drill was in my hands and my legs were underneath. You'd think I would have learned after slapping myself in the leg with an X-Acto knife 2 years ago. 0 out of 10, would not recommend. I couldn't use my new flathead screwdriver to dig into her head considering the hole was too small, so I had to use scissors. I noticed that Cave Club cuties have hair that's really crunchy inside, and I'm not sure if that's just because they're so new, or if that's just the way that they're built. So pulling out big old chunks of it is a bit harder than with Monster High dolls. I pulled out what I could and went ahead and cleaned off her face. Now, I knew for a fact that I wanted her to have white hair. I always liked that look. So I took this random bit of yarn that I bought earlier and wrapped it around over and over again until I had the white strands taken out. And after 2 cycles of getting 1/4 white and 3/4 the other 3 colors featured, I added in some other white that I had lying around to give it some bulk. The hair was punching in fine and everything was going good, and then I noticed something. Oh, that's a problem. I'm not sure why the scalp was breaking like that, but I glued the edges anyway and put her to the side and tried again a bit later. Then came the gluing inside the scalp, and I was thinking, oh, I can just use Mod Podge. That'd probably work out really good. And it probably would have if I had made sure to cover all of the scalp, and I mean all of the scalp. But at some point during the straightening process, I noticed that the part was actually coming apart and pulling out, so I had to glue the ever-loving heck out of the entire part, let it sit, and then properly comb it and fluff it up again. It did work out in the end, and I got the Einstein hair that I really liked. But it was pretty frustrating in the process, which is why it took just a bit longer than I would have liked to actually comb the hair. so next time I'm gonna be really paranoid about gluing inside. Wanting to hide the nasty glue lines on her scalp, I went and made a little flower crown for her. Almost like she was a tiny little critter that could take any flower petal and just kind of slap it onto her head because she thought it looked pretty. Or maybe she actually grows the flowers on her head? I never really figured out the lore, I just thought it would look neat. I added rope to make it look a little more official, like it was like a headdress or something. And did the same stuff to the tail to keep things going and make it look intentional. I also gave her a little skirt and using Tella's little poofy thing as part of her fairy dress. I held off on the shirt part and worked on her face. I knew for a fact I wanted her to have blacks of her eyes rather than whites of her eyes to give her more of like a fairy, like how fairies are sometimes portrayed with like the creepy eyes. Kind of gives her an otherworldly edge. And I intended on giving her some of this fabric paint as part of like freckles or something, but then I decided those flowers on her head need more texture, so I put it on the petals instead. And then ultimately gave her some brown spotting and a few accents with the brown all over her body. Oh yeah, and I also decided on the purple shirt. And then before I knew it, she was all finished. Maybe a little bit too soon. I think the hair part being so frustrating kind of turned me off to really going hard with the details. But as always with these dolls, I am never totally finished with them. I can always come back to her at a later date and figure out what was wrong with her. At this rate, I'm going to have so many dolls that are half done that I realize I should have done more with that I'll just have to have a separate update video specifically to explain what I've done with the dolls since. But that's not going to be for a bit. I still got plenty of dolls to dig through in my stock box, which is steadily getting bigger, which is a bit alarming. But I'm going to keep going with the stock box format anyway. I kind of like it. It kind of forces me to make up characters on the spot rather than obsessing over and making the same character type over and over again. But in any case, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Later!